That's how they figured out that they could actually mine salt here and sell it. And it brought a lot of people into this area.
Saltsburg is a small Pennsylvania town located 45 minutes east of Pittsburgh. With a population of 750 people, Saltsburg has to attract visitors to help their economy. They have 2 beautiful rivers and miles of bicycle and walking trails which have replaced their out-of-service railroad tracks. Saltsburg has a handful of restaurants and a bar, an amazing bakery, and of course an old-fashioned barbershop. This amazing small town was settled in the late 1700s and soon became one of America's top salt producers, hence the name Saltsburg. With the help of donkey-run canals and later steam locomotives, they were able to transport salt to Pittsburgh and as far as Harrisburg.
All right, we're here. We're in Saltsburg, Pennsylvania, and this city has a lot of rich history. I'm actually standing on what is known as the Canal Walk, and there used to be canals here in Saltsburg that actually ran from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia. There was a lot of salt in the ground here in this area, hence the name Saltsburg. Early into the 1800s, they mined the salt here in Saltsburg, and they used the canals actually to run the salt from Saltsburg into Pittsburgh and into Philadelphia. In fact, this area was so rich in salt, it was actually one of the biggest producers of salt in the United States at the time. As time went on and the Industrial Revolution kicked in, they actually started using railroads. The steam engine was invented and they started using railroads and such. And so the canals were no longer used as canals, they were used or replaced by railroads. It's interesting because with new technology, it was just too expensive to mine the salt the way that they used to do it here. There was easier, cheaper ways to do it. So the railroad stopped running and they replaced ultimately the railroad tracks with what they call rails to trails. They're commonly used by hikers and bikers and that type of stuff. So Pennsylvania was smart, and this area was smart to pull out the railroad tracks and replace them with walkways and that type of stuff. And so it's very fascinating. So we're going to show you around Saltsburg a little bit. We're going to try to find some local Saltsburg folks who will be willing to share maybe what they know about the town, why they live here, and why they think Saltsburg is a great town to live in. So let's keep moving. All right, so we're gonna walk down, I think this is Main Street, I'm not 100% sure, but we're gonna walk down to the river, and it's actually a confluence here. I know in Pittsburgh, the big confluence is the Monongahela, Allegheny, and Ohio rivers, but here it's actually a confluence of the Kiskiminetas River, which is I can't remember the full name, Kiskiminetas River, and nobody says that. Nobody says the Kiskiminetas River. Everybody calls it the Kiski River. And it actually joins up, well, the Conemaugh River actually flows into the Kiskiminetas River. And there's also the Loyalhanna Creek. And when those three come together, that would be a confluence, and it's right here in Saltsburg, Pennsylvania. This is a very popular area for locals to come and do some canoeing or kayaking down the rivers. So again, to my left over this side is going to be the Conemaugh River. And if you can see the bridge over here, that is where the Loyalhanna Creek runs into the Conemaugh River and then joins up with the Kiskiminetas. Kiskiminetas, it's hard to say, Kiskiminetas River. We call it the Kiski River. Let's just call it the Kiski River. So that's the Kiski River over to that side where the main bridge comes into town. So we're going to walk over to the main bridge here in Kiski that crosses over the Kiski River. So follow me. All right, so this is the main bridge that comes into the small town of Saltsburg. To the left would be the Conemaugh River, and to the right would be the Kiski River. And if you look off to the right over here, you'll actually see the original pillars that held up the bridge for the train tracks that came over the bridge. That bridge was built by stonemasons back in, I want to say wasn't finished until the 1860s. There were several railroads too, maybe at least 2 different railroad companies that attempted to build that bridge, and the first one ultimately went out of business, and finally then it was picked up, I believe, by the Pennsylvania Railroad Company that was able to finish it. And of course, again, that was so that the railroad could take the salt that was mined here and transport it to either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. So pretty cool history. It's pretty neat that they still have those original stones that are still there, those stone pillars that supported the railroad bridge. A woman had discovered that there was a lot of salt in the water here. She was boiling salt to purify it back in the 1700s, the late 1700s, when the settlers were coming into this area. And there was a ton of salt that was left over in the pot that she was boiling the water in. So she knew there was a lot of salt here, and it brought a lot of people into this area. So it's pretty fascinating. When the settlers first started coming into this area, there was a lot of pushback by the local Indians. So it took almost 30 years for the settlers to actually settle in this town. And anytime that happens, you know that it's going to start bringing in blacksmiths and welders and all those different types of people that had to work on wagons and have different trades. And that's what ultimately started to spring up here. And I want to say it was, I'll have to look at my history, I'll post it on the screen, but it was somewhere in the later 1800s where they paid homage to the salt and actually named the city or the town Saltsburg. All right, now one of the great things about Saltsburg, Pennsylvania is the buildings, the structures, these homes that were built back in the 1800s. In fact, this house that we're about to go into was built in 1847. So we're gonna go in and check this building out. Again, it was built in 1847. So come on in, let's take a look at it. So a lot of this building, and right behind the camera, and we'll turn the camera around in just a second, is one of the original walls. Beautiful stained glass window. And look at this absolutely beautiful staircase. We'll take a walk up here in just a minute. You can see some of the original brickwork in this building. And what I like about this is clearly the people in Saltsburg are very proud of their history. I've seen pictures like this all throughout this home with the confluence of the rivers. When people come to Pittsburgh, Saltsburg isn't something that they would think about going to, but they really should. People need to get off the interstates and come visit small town America like Saltsburg. All right, so we're gonna go down in the basement. I imagine the basement probably hasn't changed much. You can see it's still built with the original stonework. The stonework is the foundation of this place. This is what's just amazing about these old buildings. I mean, check this out. Like this, it's kind of dingy and dank down here. The floor isn't even done. The floor is dirt. All of these walls that you're looking at right now, that is all original. Wow, just awesome. All right, so this is the Saltsburg Presbyterian Church, and again, this is the original church here in Saltsburg. It's absolutely beautiful. When you come into Saltsburg, you can't miss this place. It's right on the corner, right, like basically when you come across the bridge and it's staring you right in the face. It's absolutely gorgeous. I would love to be able to go inside. Unfortunately, it's not open today, but you know, it is what it is, but just looking at it and just being here is just an awesome moment. All right, guys, well, I am in the local gas station here in Saltsburg, and I am looking for a local that's willing to tell me a little bit about the town. That's where you get the real information, is from the locals here in town. But so far, I haven't been able to do that. I did talk to the person that works here, and she said to talk to a woman named Brenda at the Salt Inn, and that's the local bar. And so we're going to try to find Brenda and see if she or somebody at her place is willing to tell us a little bit about the town, and maybe some history that isn't widely known, maybe some things about Saltsburg that really isn't widely talked about. So we'll see if we can find someone. Well, there is definitely a problem trying to find people to work in Saltsburg. All right, so first of all, my name's John.
I'm Barry.
Barry, nice to meet you.
You too.
So you're from Saltsburg?
Yeah.
All right, so tell me a little bit about the town. Did you grow up here, or were you?
I grew up here in the 50s and 60s. I used to live down here. The railroad went right past the house.
Oh, nice.
The engineer would wave at us. We were little kids. There was a lumber yard down there and a railroad station down at the end. Over here where the bank is, and there's an ATM across the street.
Yeah.
That used to be a block of stores, a barber shop, a hardware store, a dry cleaners, a little grocery store, and a beer distributor.
Wow, okay.
And that all burnt.
Oh, it burned down.
It all burnt down. Yeah.
Wow.
Everything changed.
So what is it about Saltsburg that you would say is great? Like, this is why I would live here, this is why I won't leave.
Quiet.
It's quiet.
Quiet.
People are good people.
Yeah, it's not a suburban riprap area.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I'm from Phoenix, so
Yeah, okay.
yeah, a lot of riffraff.
It's like the people are great.
Okay.
Everybody gets along.
Yeah.
Well,
for the most part.
percentage, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what I like. It's fun.
Now today was first day of deer season.
Yeah,
Were you out hunting at all?
yeah.
Any luck?
No.
Nothing worth
No.
taking down.
No.
Okay.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's fun. What it is it's life in the fast lane. I don't want to hurry.
No.
I don't
Kind of
want-
saunter through life.
Yeah. I mean, when you go past an area and it's beautiful and there's a lot of country, and a year later it's all condos and houses, that isn't my cup of tea.
I always tell like people that subscribe to my channel and watch my channel that you got to get off the interstates and you got to come to little towns like Saltsburg and just see what small town America is all about. And it's really where you're going to find the best people on the planet.
Yeah, it's
in
fun.
my opinion.
It's fun.
Barry, thanks for talking with me.
You're welcome.
All right, man.
Very welcome.
God bless you, and I hope you
too.
get a deer, man.
Thank you. Thanks. It might happen.
So these are pictures of the what the canal boats would have looked like.
Yes, what it looked like, way back when salt was a major industry here, so they would load up the boats and the mules would pull them down the river and to the different small towns and unload.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My name is Michelle Jesco, and me and my husband moved here 30 years ago, actually.
Wow.
It'll be
From where? Where'd you move
30
from?
years on Christmas Eve, I believe it is. I lived in Penn Hills. He lived in Plumboro, which not far from here, about 25-minute drive. And we were looking for actually a small town.
Okay. Oh wow.
Somewhere nice and small, where we could have a starter home, and our starter home just we just never left. we loved it. That's basically why we moved here. It was a nice, cute little town. We fell in love with it, and we hadn't planned on staying here this whole time, but
you did.
We did. Yes, I love it because it's like everything is convenient. You know, you can walk to the grocery store, the bank, you know, the barber,
everything is so close.
Yes.
And the Riverwalk or the canal trail is awesome.
Yeah, the trail, we had the West Penn Trail, and that, I mean, gets a lot of use. We have the trails and the rivers. So we actually have a kayak shop in town.
Yeah, we saw that.
It gets really busy in
That's
the
awesome.
summertime.
I imagine so. And obviously, there's something about the town that keeps you here.
You know, I love it. It's small town. You know everybody. Everybody knows your kids. You know, I always told my kids, don't do anything that you wouldn't want me to find out about it, because I'll know before you get home.
That's right. That's right. Waiting for you.
Yes. So it's nice because everybody kind of watches out for everybody. You don't really have to worry too much. You know, I mean, things have changed a little bit over the years, but it's still basically that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice. You know, if you don't see, you know, an elderly neighbor that you know always has their door open at, you know, 10 a.m. and the door's not open, you know, people go check.
Oh, that's
that
good.
kind of thing. And yeah, so it's a very close-knit community.
And that's what I love about small towns. I love the fact that you watch out for each other, you know, and you're there for one another. So.
Yes. I mean, if I know in the past when there's been tragedies that have happened, you know, the town really rallies around the family and helps.
That's
support
awesome.
That, you know, it is. It's very nice to know that, you know, you almost have like extended family, and even people that you might not necessarily see eye to eye with on a daily basis. If something happens, it's, you know, that's forgotten about for the time being.
Wow.
And everybody comes together.
I noticed that the population, since I think I looked back to 2010 census, it was about 1,000 people. Yeah. And now recently it's gone down to about 700. Is there, are you seeing a reverse in that, or a slowdown, or what's kind of causing? Is it just? I
would just say that probably some of it is just the way the world is now. I mean, you don't have a lot of the jobs here. So when the kids, you know, graduate college, they're, you know, not a lot of them are staying local because of there's not a lot of job opportunities, so they're moving out, and then you have a large older population that have, you know, passed on. Yeah. So I think it's, you know, it ebbs and flows.
I met the attendant at the gas station right across the bridge.
Oh, okay.
I asked her who to speak to. She told me to go to the Salt Inn. And so I went to the Salt Inn, I talked to Brenda. Brenda told me to talk to Barry. Barry told me to talk to you. And so then you weren't at your residence, but your neighbor was out decorating. And so your neighbor, she got on the phone with you, and that's how this. So I know it's not by accident. It was meant to happen.
Yes,
so.
Yes. And I did, like I said, I'm not from here. I grew up in kind of, you know, the suburbs, and, you know, in a housing plan, and, you know, a million kids and all that kind of stuff. But I love it out here. I mean, you know, I always jokingly say I live next to the funeral home, and I always say, you know, they won't even have to pick me up. My husband can just carry me over, you know.
Right over the shoulder.
Yeah, save the fee. But no, I do. I love it here. We have a farmer's market that we do in the summers. We have a car cruise that I do in the, well, we're going to move it to the summer. It was in the fall, but we're going to move it up. We have townwide yard sales. We have Oktoberfest. We have Light Up Night, Canal Days. Yeah, Canal Days is the biggest thing. It's been around, I want to say, close to 40 years.
Well, what makes Saltsburg like the town? Like what is just awesome about Saltsburg?
Oh, again, I think it's just that small town feel that like everybody knows you. You know.
Well, that was Michelle, and she was fantastic. Talk about just friendly people. Overall, my stay here, my visit here in Saltsburg has been fantastic, and what a great little town. I wish I was here, as I said in my conversation with Michelle, I wish I was here for light up night. But unfortunately, I've got to get back to Phoenix, and but maybe, who knows, maybe I'll be in this area again, and be sure to come by on one of their festivals. But guys, I recommend just checking it out. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, just hop in your car and drive out to Saltsburg. Come out here in the winter, come out here in the summertime. There's so much going on, and the people are fantastic. And make sure when you come here, make sure to spend your money in town at local businesses. They really, really rely on that. Walmart, they can live without your business. Here, they really rely on it. So until next time, get off the interstate and go enjoy small town America. Take care.